Welcome everybody to the JJ and Pug Show. It is October 29th, 2024. And this is your guy.
I love this song. It's so good.
You know what it reminded me of?
I don't even know.
John Michael Montgomery. In fact, right after the song, I turned on John Michael Montgomery. I was like, yeah.
Dude, it's a catchy jam.
You know what it is? This is a solid country song.
Yeah.
It's a solid country song. Like, when I listen to it, maybe 3 or 4 times. I'm like, I have no problems. I got nothing about this that I could be like, oh, this is what's wrong with country music today. It was like, no, this is throwback to the 90s. He calls it a honky tonk. I mean, like, it's all like, yeah, dude.
I want to sing this in karaoke. Like, it's that kind of song. Like, you know what I mean? It's just fun. It's upbeat. It makes you want to move around and dance a little bit. Like, you could dance on the dance floor to this all day long.
You know what's, dude, that is so funny. So, as I was putting this on, I have to have it playing on my phone so I can hear it. Rhea comes in. She just wakes up and walks in. Daddy, it's a dance song. Dude, a little 3-year-old figured that out. Like, boom. Off the bat, man. This is a dance song.
It's just so catchy. Like, dude, just the beat. Yeah.
You know the thing I also like about it is it's got like that, like the old school where he sings like, he starts with a real low voice, and then he just gets on into it, and it's like, yeah, dude, I love that.
Kids and going half crazy.
Solid recommendation for your second.
Yes.
And I don't know how many times we've done this.
I don't know how either. But
I should probably go back and start like crediting it in the description of the episode. So if anybody ever came back to it, like, hey, we credited it. We said who it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was listening to, well, I don't know if I want to get into it just yet, but we'll get into that in a minute. Well, no, you know, did you listen to the Joe Rogan interview of Donald Trump?
So actually, I just started it yesterday. I got through, or last night. I got through maybe like 20 minutes of it.
Okay.
So I'm not fully.
We'll talk about it when you do that.
Yeah, I want to finish it. It's 2 hours. It's
3.
Almost 3, yeah.
It's 3 on the dot.
And it's, I got to the point where he talked about employing how, like, when you become president, you don't realize that you're not just employing a vice president. I mean, you employ tens of thousands of people because you appoint people to positions, and then they appoint people to appoint people, you know? Yeah.
So it is, I did it, normally, you know how much I don't like the guy.
I know.
Not Joe Rogan. I don't care for Joe Rogan, but I don't not like him. Right. Like, he's fine. He's probably actually a good thing overall when it comes to like the discussions that he creates.
He does great. He uses his platform really well.
Yes, I would agree with that. But I don't like Donald Trump. I don't like him at all. The person that got me to do it, he wants me to go on his political podcast, which, to be honest, I'm a little scared to do because I do not like getting real loud about my political opinions.
Right.
Mostly because I really feel like that is hey, your business, you do what you think is right.
Yeah.
Just as long as you vote and as long as you're a part of the process and you're not somebody that just sits on the outside and complains about everything that you perceive to be wrong but are unwilling to do anything about it. As long as you're willing to do something about it, I don't want to be the guy that, stomps at your toes.
Well, I don't like to, like, when you get into political conversations, I will talk to anybody about politics, right? In fact, I just got into a conversation with a guy about religion at work, right? And we need to finish it because it's just curious. Like, he's got one perception of a religion, and and you're just wanting to know answers, right? And it's all gossip crap, really.
Yeah,
but these dialogues are cool. Like, you can have that, right? Like, you can not agree or maybe think, okay, well, it doesn't make sense to me. All right, well, it doesn't have to. You're not the one that believes it.
Exactly.
Right? And that's the way politics should be. You should be able to have a full conversation with somebody that's on the other side of the aisle and say, all right, cool. Like, I get that you feel that way. I don't. But guess what? You're still a good human, so we're good.
And you and I have been very consistent in that. That is the most important thing. As long as you're willing to recognize the person you're talking to is a human and treat them as such. Everything else is, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but a lot of things kind of lose their sting when you disagree on something, when you recognize that just because you don't have the same political affiliation or the exact same belief on the way things should be done in the political sphere, as long as you both believe that you're both good human beings, then everything else kind of falls to the side.
Yeah, it's okay to disagree on things. Like,
so all
we
that
have
being
different
said,
taste in women. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think
everything,
about a guy, or your attraction is different for everybody. Like, not everybody's attracted to the same person. You know what I mean? So, like, we're never the same.
Right.
Why they blow up politics like they do is crazy.
Dude, it's because I feel like people truly think it's life and death. In history, I mean, there have been instances in which that's been the case. I mean, let's not pretend like military coups don't happen, and violent takeovers don't happen. I mean, shoot, what's happening right now in the Middle East and the Ukraine? Like, war happens, but at the same time, when it comes to like voting for your school board, it doesn't matter. Like, no, it's not the end of the world. No. And but anyway, so this guy, he's telling me, and I'm telling him off the record how I feel about certain things. And he's like, listen, you just need to take the time and just listen to that, and it will change your view of Donald Trump. Now, I can say It did not change my view, but I completely understood where he was coming from. In that, if you listen to the whole interview, you will think of him differently. My opinion didn't change because I feel like my opinion of him was exactly who he portrayed himself to be.
Yeah.
And that is, he is so savvy on how to have a conversation with somebody and sound cool. He's a celebrity.
Well, and dude, he's intelligent. Like
he is so much more intelligent than people give him credit for.
People write him off as just being this dumb billionaire that doesn't have any idea. And you know what cracks me up is they throw in this. The one thing that gets me is like all the times that he's filed bankruptcy, right? Because this was all over the feeds right now with all this stuff, right? Oh, he's filed bankruptcy. Who gives a dang? If you as a person knew the loopholes that he knew, you would take advantage of them.
See, that's the thing about bankruptcy that drives me nuts. Is it should be a sign that you failed.
Right.
Instead, it's no, this is the way I'm going to get my money back.
Right. But like, that's not his fault. I'm going to
reduce my loss.
It's not his fault. It's nobody's fault who does that.
He said the same thing about taxes.
Yeah.
When they talked about how little he paid in income tax, he's like, well, it ain't my fault you couldn't take advantage of the system.
And again, like as much as I hate the fact that I'm paying all this stuff into income tax and he's getting away with it, maybe I should learn to read more and figure it out and understand tax code.
Yeah. How do you begrudge a guy? I mean, I will begrudge him because... Actually, no, I don't begrudge him. Let me take it back. I understand what he's doing because if I had the ability to do that, I would do the same thing. It would be dumb of me not to.
And what's crazy is, the people that are criticizing him that are higher up on both sides, right? The Republicans
doing the exact same thing.
Doing the exact same thing. They're just putting him on blast because this is their way of trying to divert all the attention and all the stuff into a negative light. And it's
or they don't make as much money as he does, right. And so they're not going to be the one that gets scrutinized for it. Let's say if you're like a news anchor on CNBC or Fox News or whatever, if you're the one that wants to bring it up, you're not making enough money to be making that much of a difference. When you're talking about a guy with a B in front of his name, a billionaire, well, then guess what? Then now you have somebody that everybody doesn't like.
And I'm sure Steve Jobs did it. I'm sure the guy, who's the owner of Amazon, he's like the richest guy in the world. Yeah, Bezos. I'm sure they do it. But the
Elon
fact that
Musk, 100%.
And why not? Like, again, if you had that kind of money and had the ability to do it, would you want to? You're going to tell me that you didn't know I would be different. I want to pay more. The hell you do?
Dude, there is, I'm trying to remember who it was. I can't remember his name. He was a CEO. Actually, you know what? I don't want to go down that road. It's a different story for a different time, and it doesn't exactly relate with where we want to go on this. But the point is if you see somebody taking advantage of a legal opportunity, even though you may think morally that they shouldn't, you can't complain because legally they're doing everything by the book.
And that's the thing, dude. It's like, look, if he's doing it all, if he was really doing tax evasion and stuff, at this point, especially, right? Yeah. They would have taken. He would be in jail, or
they would have found
it. You can't tell me that at this point. Maybe at the beginning they maybe would have, but now after all the steps they've gone through to try to discredit that man for anything, if he literally was doing tax evasion, they would happen because Wesley Snipes went to prison for tax evasion. Blade went to. If they put Blade in jail, they would have no problem.
Dang it, I wanted to remember his name from Demolition Man, but I can't remember his name from Demolition Man. That's what I was going to call him.
Oh man, I can sing on. Hang on.
Yeah, well, going back to the whole reason why I brought this up is I felt, and I've always felt that Donald Trump is not an idiot. In fact, he is very, 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 very smart. Can you name one billionaire that anybody has ever liked because of their personality?
No.
Name one. His name's Donald Trump.
No.
I mean, any other billionaire you can ever think of. Like maybe you like Warren Buffett because he's a smart guy and he is one of the very few guys that has spoken up and said, we billionaires need to pay more in taxes. What is his name?
Simon Phoenix.
Simon Phoenix, yes. That's what it is. Demolition Man's gotten a lot of play on this podcast.
So good. It's so bad.
So stupid. It's so awesome. But,
it's funny.
But the thing for me when it comes to Donald Trump is I don't think that he is necessarily the most book smart guy or a guy that's like a genius level person that can make any business succeed. I don't think that's his thing. His thing is he is very personally savvy. Like he understands exactly what to say to a crowd for them to like him. He's a celebrity. He's a great he is a great public speaker. Even if you think that his public speaking skills are poor, bro, he gets 1 million people to show up all the time to listen to him incoherently ramble, but they love what he has to say. And I don't think that he's doing it because he's dumb. I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
And so the guy that I was talking to, the reason why he's telling me, he's like, I think you're giving Trump too much credit. I don't think he's that smart. I'm like, oh no. I think if anything, I don't think anybody gives him enough credit for being that smart.
Yeah.
I think that is his greatest political feature, in that he is able to speak to everybody in the way that they want to be spoken to. There's a reason why the guy's been the public figure since the early 80s.
Well, and it's crazy as they talked about on that podcast, actually, how he was one of the last few people on the Oprah Winfrey show.
Yeah.
The last week.
And The View.
And The View, yeah. And then
right before he got the nomination in 2015.
Right. And now these people are the ones that are just like, dude.
They think he's the worst.
Yeah. They think he's the most like, oh, whatever. And again, it's just, the problem is it's just so two-faced.
It is. It is very.
It's like, come on, man. I hate Paul. I'm so tired of my phone. I'm so tired of text messages. I'm tired of commercials. Tired of, at this point, you pretty much know who you're going to vote for. You can stop advertising.
That's the thing. If you truly are undecided at this point,
you've had your head in the sand.
Can you vote?
Yeah.
Like, what's going to change your mind? I'm speaking like rhetorically, but I'm seriously asking the question: what is going to make you decide at this point? One of the topics I put on here that I wanted to make sure that we cover when it comes to these things, because I think you and I talked about it in Maine with our wives, and that is the exception, or willing to accept, or being able to finally accept that we are all biased to some level. Yeah. Everybody's got a bias. Whether you want to agree with, accept it or not, you have to be aware of those biases whenever you're going to make a decision. I am very aware how biased I am against Donald Trump because of the person he is. And I have to check that often when I go back to check on the things that he's running on, like the platforms he's trying to espouse. Same thing with Kamala Harris. Like I am very recognize how biased I am against a lot of the policies that she's talked about in the past. Now my biggest bias against her is that whatever she said in the past doesn't matter anymore, I guess, because everything that she said in the past, she's flipped on and now she doesn't believe it anymore. I mean, remember back in the day we used to call John Kerry the flip-flopper?
Yeah.
Dude, Kamala Harris is a freaking pancake.
She's terrible.
Dude, she's flipping things in the air constantly. Yeah. And it's impossible to know where she actually stands on anything because it's changed all the time. And when she says that like her principles haven't changed, I'm like, how do you say, I mean, perfect, just a small example of fracking. How can you say that the principle hasn't changed? Fracking it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So your principle on it, you were saying you wanted to ban it when you were running for president. You didn't get nominated. You became the vice president. Now you're running for president and you don't want to ban it. Like, what changed?
Nothing
She's
changed. Just trying to get a bigger vote thing. It's all just smoke and mirrors and joke.
And so that's the thing that's hard for me. And I have to recognize that's my bias. Okay, so what are the actual things that she's running on? Those are the things that I have to check when it comes to both Kamala and Trump. Because I don't like either. And spoiler alert, I didn't vote for either. I did vote. But I'm not going to talk about who I voted for here because I don't want to. Say that. I'm going to say that for the other guy's show because that's the reason why. I'm not going to say. I'm a little bit nervous to go on there and talk about it, man.
It's all right. You can have an opinion.
You know what's easy to talk about? The things you don't like when it comes to politics. It's hard to talk about the things you do like because that's what really sets people off. Yeah, when you said that you like something that they don't like.
Well, of course, and if the other person doesn't like it, it's because we can't relate. So guess what? I'm going to be mad. Yeah. I mean, and the crazy thing is the big one that the front topic of everything right now is what? Abortion. Right? Yep. I mean, and I love how both sides try to make it a black and white. Yeah. It's either no or yes. It's like, well, hang on. Like any reasonable person understands that, yes, that is a human being, right? I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
But they also understand incest and all this other stuff, right? So like, you can't just look at like, I don't like the fact that abortion's looked at like birth control. Okay. That's my issue with it. And I'm not, that is not a dig on anybody that believes that.
Two big hands up right here.
If that's what you want to believe, that's fine. My issue is that should not be a form of birth control. Like you done messed up. So now you're just going to take a living species and kill it. Whether you agree with that or not, that's fine. That's just my take. Right.
So mine is very similar. My thought is I am pro-choice in the sense that like the choice is whether or not to have sex.
Yeah.
That's the choice. Now, if that choice is taken from you, now we're in the gray area. Like you said, rape, incest.
Yeah.
That's
tough.
That is tough because now we're in a gray area and that's harder to understand exactly how you feel about that. But when it comes to any other situation, which is, recreational sex, sex between a husband and wife, whatever it may be, that's the choice. The consequence of that, which we are biologically created to do, is to reproduce. That's the consequence of that.
You know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You don't go into that not knowing.
Yeah. You don't go into the thinking that, nope, never going to happen to me. It's like, there's always a chance.
Yeah.
There's always a chance. But guess what we also have for that? We have lots of contraceptives and there's a plan B, the day after pill. Like, listen, like if you're that concerned, You know what I mean? To me, those are the choices.
Sorry, I just thought of a reel that we can't talk about that has to do with Plan B.
Okay.
I'll send it to you because it's so funny.
I'll watch it.
But it's really funny.
But that's the thing. That's the choice.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And that always gets completely skimmed right over. We don't talk about that.
Because sex is that's a right. Like I can have it anytime I want. It doesn't make, and you don't have to make the decision. I don't understand like why you don't use protection then. If you're worried about pregnancy, you have all different types of options. There's not just one option where you're like, yeah, but it doesn't feel as good. But then you pick other things.
Yes.
Pick other things.
Exactly.
There's a million other things, right? But then you know you're gambling if you don't do anything. Your option should not be, I can always kill it. What?
Yeah, that's the thing that kills me about it.
Okay.
And not to use the word I didn't mean to use it. That kills me about it. The thing that's terrible about it is that you're literally talking about killing.
Yeah.
It is if you want to get into a philosophical discussion about when does life begin and when is life viable or whatever else you want to say, because if you want to say that you should be able to allow an abortion up to viability, which is about 24 weeks. You're telling me, do you let a human being grow and develop for 24 weeks and then it said, nah? Like, how? How could we accept that?
I don't know.
There's so many things about it that are so disgusting and gross to me about it.
That's why it's not black and white. And it shouldn't be an issue that's black and white. And you can have but again, I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know. You can't please everybody.
No,
right?
And that's the thing is when again comes to recognizing your bias.
Yeah,
I recognize my bias.
Yeah,
one, I'm a guy, never been pregnant, so
I'm not going to tell anybody any different. No, like I don't like it is. You pick again. Your body, your choice thing. I understand all that, but it's just like I don't know. Like you said, we have a choice. You don't have to have sex with somebody.
Yeah,
and if you do, you have a choice to use protection or not.
Yes.
So those are your choices are.
And like I said, let's say if first, I don't know, maybe the condom broke, or whatever it might be.
Whatever.
You forgot to take your pill, whatever. There is plan B. The day after pill exists.
Yeah. And you can literally do it immediately. If you know you gambled last night, you have that option.
Yeah. So that's the thing that I really get bothered by about it is like we have all this discussion about, the right of the woman and her choice and her decision. I'm not saying that that's not true, but what we're talking about is you just delaying that decision until there's a life at stake.
Yeah, you should know right away.
Yes.
Even then, 4 weeks in,
Yeah.
Right? You're going to miss your period.
Or even let's say 5 weeks.
Whatever, yeah.
But truly, I'm rewinding 3-4 weeks. Bro, you had sex last night without protection. What's going to happen? Even if you had protection. Yeah, even if you had protection, guess what? There's no contraceptive. That's 100%. Like, that's the choice. The choice you made. Again, I'm carving out the sense that if the choice was taken from you.
That's different.
That's totally different topic.
Total different conversation.
And so I don't know. I think it's, and I'll also say this. This is one thing that, if you were listening to the show a while ago, Shalay came on here and talked about when we had a miscarriage. And, it was in March. The option we were not given was, hey, listen, we're not terminating this until we know. And it wasn't an option that we were going to take, but it was an option that was like, hey, you can't start taking abortion pill until you know.
Yeah. And
that was like, yeah, of course, we're not going to end this thing until we know for sure that there's no chance that this embryo is going to, develop. Like, it's not like we're speaking from nowhere. I mean, I, again, recognize I'm a man. I've never been pregnant. I know how my wife feels about it. I feel pretty confident that I can speak for her in that sense. And I'd love to have her come on and talk about it sometime when the kids aren't at home and someone's got to watch them on their other, right? So it's just, I don't know. The whole topic it's crazy to me that seems to be what this entire general election is boiling down to. Is the one
and all the made up crap about both sides are saying that they want you to do. I mean, there is facts like some of the stuff with some of the vice presidential candidates have said they want to do up into 30 weeks or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And they sign laws in their states where they're from or whatever. But it's like, look, why is it coming down to this? Like, why? And then the other side slams the other side for wanting to be, they want doctors to tell people no, and it's like, can we just stop?
It's just crazy to me again. Like we talk about, of all the things that are going on in our country, it seems to be that is what people are voting on,
which is crazy.
It is, and I don't know.
I mean, there's the argument you can make is why is it even political? If I go in, if I'm a human, all these HIPAA laws and all this other crap, right? Mm-hmm. If I go into a doctor's office and I tell the doctor that I want to abort my baby, Why does anybody else know?
That's a good question.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we having this political? That is, okay, if it's truly your body, your choice, or pro-life and all this stuff, it really doesn't matter who. Like, if you go into your doctor and you tell your doctor this is what you want, and you sign all the forms to do it, why is anybody else involved? Why are the states involved? Why is feds involved? Like, they don't get involved when I want a vasectomy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't get involved when I want a heart transplant. They don't get involved when I do anything else. I get it. I'm not on board with abortion personally. I don't agree with it. I feel like there are a million people out there on a waiting list to have a kid from an adoption. Yep. If you don't want the kid, there are options. That is not an option for me personally. But if that's your cup of tea, then that's you. You're the one that has to live with that, not me. I don't care. But it shouldn't be a forefront topic in politics right now.
No, it is crazy how much it is. And I know that those people that are hardcore on the pro-life side, they make it a huge deal because it's like, no, we're literally talking about human life.
Yeah.
We're talking about murder. And that is, again, that's the pro-life stance of we can't tolerate to any level because we're talking about the ending of life. But it's funny, that wasn't on the list of things to talk about, but how prevalent it is in the discussion right now.
It's just huge right now. We've got a week till the election.
Dude, it's a week away. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be over with in a week.
Do you think it's either it can be catastrophic though? Like we're talking like if this goes, and here's the crazy part. I don't care who wins. I think it's just going to be a bad week or two.
Yeah, no, that is true.
I think it'll be worse off. And this is just based on history. I think it'll be worse off if the Democrats lose because I feel like the left is a little bit more extreme in the violent sense versus the right. Just because we haven't seen what we've seen with the left when they get involved. And
I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to say that considering what happened on January 6th.
That was not violent.
Somebody died, dog.
One person died. Look at all this stuff that happened with George Floyd stuff, right? And these things.
Yes, you're right. And I knew that was
Washington.
I'm just going to say, I just don't think that we can truly say that before January 6th, I think that's true. I mean, probably for 30 years because, civil rights era was pretty rough.
Oh yeah.
It's a pretty rough time.
Although we haven't come anywhere since then. If you ask people, like we're still just as bad.
So. No, it's true. But I'm talking about the fact that back then, like on the right side, you were literally hanging people.
Right. Well, no. Right. So it's just, but again, it's that like, I'm just a little worried just because of how extreme they're both extreme.
Well, this is the thing that I was thinking about. The thing that I worry about if it is a close race, which by all indications is going to be a very close race, neither side is going to accept whatever the results are for months.
Yeah.
Months.
I hope it's a landslide win. However it happens.
It's not going to be.
You never know.
He's right.
They said the same thing when Hillary ran with Donald Trump. They were like, this is going to be nothing. This will be a land one. Totally and it was like, holy crap. You couldn't even argue it because you were like, dude. And I just feel like at this point, everybody knows what you're going to get with both candidates, right? You got if you've had your head in the sand the past 8 years, then you have no clue. But anything else, like what you get with Donald Trump, and what you get with Kamala Harris, because she said herself she doesn't think they had done anything. She would change anything in the last 3 or 4 years.
Oh, that was the thing. I'm like, you've got to be kidding.
That's where she lost everybody. Like,
yes!
If I was on the fence, and I wasn't, because I don't. That's just me. I wasn't. But if I was, and that's what she says. And knowing how everything has just gone crazy the past 3 years.
Yes, there has been a lot that's
I'm like,
come down.
You have just basically swayed me.
You're telling me you wouldn't have done anything different with Afghanistan? You wouldn't have done anything different when it comes to aiding Ukraine or Israel and asking or making. You wouldn't have done anything different.
The foreign aid thing really gets me.
I know.
I can't understand it, and I don't know if we have like a clause somewhere within our country. I just don't get why. The hurricanes happen in North Carolina and they offer everybody $400 to help them out.
Yeah.
But we're sending $400 billion over to Ukraine. Huh?
Dude, I will say this. I'm one of those guys. I don't believe in isolationism. I'm 100% a person that believes that we have the means, we need help. But I also look at it and say, we got a lot of needs in here. So before we start doing everything all around the entire world and aiding everybody, we need to make sure that we're taken care of within. That is how I feel about that.
The amount of money they've given Ukraine, like you could have gave every person in America like X amount of millions of dollars, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I'm very sympathetic to Ukraine because my sister's from the region.
Right.
And knowing my sister and my brother and my brother, I have one brother from Russia, a brother and sister from Moldova, which is like, I know I'm very sympathetic to the region, knowing what that area of the world has to deal with on the daily basis of recognizing that, Russia's always looking in their back door, always. and they never have been able to feel truly free of the Soviet Union because Russia's always been there. So I'm very sympathetic to that.
I get it.
But I also understand where you're coming from. I do. Because it is one of those things where you look at it and say, we constantly are complaining about all the issues we have in this country. I mean, Hurricane Katrina was devastating. Hurricane Helene wrecked an area of the country that was completely thought to be safe from hurricanes.
Crazy.
Like, no one living in the mountains of western North Carolina had any idea that a hurricane was going to come in and devastate, absolutely destroy their entire community. Like, nobody thought that. And so I understand where it's like, listen, we got some problems here we need to make sure we're taking care of. But I understand both sides. Like I said, I know, again, recognizing my bias, I have a lot of sympathy towards Ukraine, what they're going through, because Russia came in and said, this is ours. And all Ukraine said is, no, it's ours. And nobody was there to help them fight because they're not a part of any, military treaty. The one they were trying to join, they can't join now because they're in an active war. Right? I don't know. It's there. And I know there's a lot more to the story than what we just said. There's a lot more to the story. And I've had conversations with that one. But anyway. Where you're biased. What you mean by
screw the letter C? Can we talk about that?
yes. Well, first I want to say is
random comment.
Final thing. Everybody get out and vote.
Get out and vote. If you want to complain or you want to praise, you need to get out and vote. That's the bottom line. You cannot complain or cry or be happy about something. You need to go out and vote.
Yeah.
I don't care who you vote for. I don't care what you say. At least you need to vote.
Right. And with that being said, I know I'm going to have to split this into a couple parts on YouTube. So this is a great break, because this doesn't matter at all. What are we doing with the letter C?
I don't understand what you mean by this.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If I were to give you two words, success and recess, why do we have the letter C in that word, both of those words, and it makes two different sounds?
Well, dude. This goes on for. It's like, did you watch a reel with all this stuff? Is that what got you?
No, it was just the other day. I can't even remember what it was. It was. My name. I think it drives me nuts. My name is Erik.
Yeah.
Constantly, somebody will text me, call me, email me, Eric. I don't blame them because that's the English way of spelling Eric. Mine comes from Sweden. Erik is the way it's spelled. Okay. So my whole life I've always had this thing about the letter C, right? And then I look at the letter C and I'm thinking, what are we using for? Because the sound you make is a S or a K. We have two letters that do those sounds, and they only do those sounds. A K only does K.
Dude,
an S only does S. Like, what are we doing?
If I spell COVE, what's that word?
COVE? Cove.
Okay. If I spell LOVE, what's that word?
Love.
Okay. The only thing that changed in there is the front two letters, right? Yeah. And now you've made it to where it's
just the one letter.
It's an yeah. Well, the first two letters, the two letters.
Right. Yeah.
It goes to an and an O. You didn't do anything besides change the letter in front of it.
I know
that the English language is tough, bro.
Okay, let me ask you this: if I were to tell you to spell the word rock, and I took the letter C out, would you still read that and say rock?
Yeah.
K.
Yeah.
What's the C doing in front of the K? It doesn't change the fact that I'm going to do a...
It's the ch noise.
CH. Okay. You know, in Spanish, their alphabet actually has a separate CH. That is a letter in the alphabet. No. The two letters together.
Which makes sense.
Because it's the only one. Okay.
But if you take English translation, you take English words and you translate something like, I can't remember where I was watching, it was some other country.
Yeah.
It's Japanese actually. The way the sentence structure is, the way they say it in Japanese and the way we say it, we would say, I saw the dog run.
Yeah.
Theirs would be something along the lines of, I see run dog.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Spanish.
Yeah, and you're like,
it's always backwards.
The verb goes first or after, whatever that is. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all weird, and and they had a real long one, and you're like, what? How do you translate this? How do you jump back and forth?
Which is crazy when you look at specifically for Japanese, because there's lots of Japanese players in Major League Baseball, and almost all of them have an interpreter that sits right next to them for these interviews. And I'm always like, dude, how do those guys do that? How can they take this English sentence, go right back to Japanese, get a Japanese sentence, and go right back in English? That's impressive.
It makes me feel dumb.
It makes me feel so dumb.
But what's crazy is they'll say English is the hardest language to learn, right?
Yeah.
And then, but I'm like, no, have you tried Spanish? Have you tried
any other language?
Tried Japanese? I don't know, but I feel like it's really tough. Japanese has symbols, for crying out loud.
Dude, I know. And that's actually the thing when it comes to me, when I think about Russian, I need to learn a whole new alphabet.
Yeah.
it's...
I ain't got time for that.
No, I ain't got time for that.
You know what I got? Apple Translate, bro.
Google Translate on my end.
Yeah. I take a picture. It'll tell me exactly what it says.
Dude, I just get so bothered where every time that something with a C comes through, and I'm like, it's just unnecessary. Like we don't need it. And for that matter, let's go and talk about a whole lot of things. Like you said, love. Why is it not LUV?
Dude,
it's not love.
Why is course spelled the same way but means different things based on what it is?
Or there, and there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. There, and there. But like there, you can almost break it down a little bit more with there. Like they sound. They are like yes. There. But course, like that's a course piece of paper, or you've got a golf course you play on. Like,
yeah.
Like okay, spelled the exact same way.
Your voice is sounding a little coarse right now.
Yeah. Because yelling at a lot.
I just was using it.
Yeah. No, but that's like how did when you're learning the English language?
I know,
okay,
dude.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I know. It's stupid, but I just
read in red, bro. Like
I know.
Read in red.
I know.
And then we have a red color.
Yes, but the thing about read in red that's crazy, and when there's lots of little words like this, they're literally spelled the exact same. Yeah. And the only way to tell them the difference is context. Yeah. Like. You don't ever you get it right every time. Yeah,
you think about it when you're reading it out of you're like you never say it wrong.
I just was reading 2 mornings ago with my kids. Right, we read before they go to school every day, and I had to correct. No, that's not read. It's read. And they're like, oh, okay. Didn't miss it for the rest of the time.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You've been conditioned your whole life to catch these things. We don't even think twice about it. But like, you come in and you learn English. It's like, I guess it would be hard. They say it's not. I get it. Yeah.
I knew that I was going to get a little pushback from you on the C though, because the last name over here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be an issue.
I would be fine with the CK though. It wouldn't matter to me. Like, I understand your point. Like, it really doesn't. It's just literally thrown into places.
Yeah, it doesn't. We don't need it. And it really, the thing that drives me nuts is really when you're reading things and you're writing things and you look at the language itself and you think, why do we have so much excess and fluff?
But bro, I mean, like, I don't even know who this guy's from. I work with him, but his last name looks like schizophrenic. Okay, that's not it. It's Chippaneats or something like that. I'm like. Huh?
Yeah.
Like how you look at it, we call him schizophrenic because you don't know. But I learned, I'm like, oh, so it's completely chipping whatever. I'm like, what?
Dude, I remember I went to church with this family. The last name was Semetzik, and it took me the longest time to remember how to pronounce that word because the spelling of it wasn't close. It started with an S. After that, nothing. Insane. It was, but I think it had to have been like Eastern European. Like Croatia or something like that. But dude, anyway, get rid of the letter C. All right.
I wouldn't argue.
It's just unnecessary.
Just make everything a K.
Yeah. K or an S. Right?
There you go.
Like recess. Why do we have a C in there with the S's? Anyway.
All right. I know where you're going to go with this next one because I've seen it and it cracks me up because it's a funny commercial. But every time it's done, I'm like, why did we go there?
Okay, we're talking about the iPhone commercial where a husband and wife.
16.
It's a brand new iPhone commercial. It's the husband and wife in their room. The door's closed, and the wife says, "Hey, you want to see something?" And he says, "Oh yeah, I want to see something." And it's all full of innuendo.
Like crazy innuendo.
Okay, the thing that gets me: what teenager
sits
on this planet would ever sit outside their parents' door and listen
that long?
You hear one thing, you're gone.
You're gone.
You're not sticking around.
No, I don't want that imprinted on my head. Dude, ever. No.
That's the part of the commercial that loses me. All the innuendo is funny.
Yeah.
All of it. But the fact no kid is sitting up for their mom and dad's room and staying.
No, not for that long at all. As soon as they realize, like,
you want to touch it?
Yeah,
gone. I'm out. Or when he says, "Hey, you want to see it?" Ooh, that's sexy. Gone. All right,
I'm out. Just touch that button. Watch it. I'm like, run.
There's no chance. Oh my gosh. That was the one where I'm like, the least believable part about this whole thing are the kids staying outside the door. And the daughter puts her hand up to tell their brother to shut up so she can keep listening. Never, ever.
If you're doing that as a kid, you got a messed up family.
Okay,
like,
now let's reverse it. Okay. Let's say that mom and dad are outside of the daughter's room.
Right.
And she's having that conversation with a boyfriend. Little bit more believable because they're like, hey, I want to respect the boundaries. I don't want to be jumping in there, but at the same
as
time,
soon as they say you want to see it, I'm jumping in the door. If it's my daughter,
touch the button.
I'm in. You ain't nobody touching. No, Dad, we were just looking at the phone. That would have been a good commercial.
Yeah,
that would have been a good commercial.
Yes. And then Dad goes, oh, sorry.
My bad.
It backs out of the room.
My bad. iPhone
is way better commercial.
Yeah.
Dude, screw iPhone. Hire us. We know better.
No, Joe. We can make that commercial better, dude.
Yeah,
dude. So funny.
Yes. And then the other one was the stupid Wingstop commercial. It's on every freaking sports TV break. It's the same dumb song. And I remember posting on Facebook about it. And some guy gets on and he's like, well, it's because it's on, that commercial just for black people. I'm like, bro, I like chicken wings too. They're marketing this to everybody that likes chicken wings. And who doesn't like chicken wings?
I don't know.
Come up with like a 3 commercial rotation, please. Don't play the same dumb one over and over and over. Because it poisons Wingstop to me. I don't want to go to Wingstop anymore.
I don't want to go because they're too dang expensive.
Oh, they're so expensive.
Even when inflation wasn't inflation, Wingstop was expensive. We have one out here, and I've been into it one time, and I was like, never again will I pay this much for wings and fries.
I used to go to Wingstop all the time.
So I just couldn't.
I did because I remember first time I ever went to it was on my mission. Okay. And then it wasn't a national chain. It was like a regional chain. I think it was out of Texas. At least I remember that was because Troy Aikman was all about it. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know. But when it came here to Arizona, I was super stoked about it. So I used to go all the time. But now it's to the point where I'm like, dude, if I see a Wingstop, that stupid song starts playing in my head and I want to throw something through the window.
And that's not what they were going for.
No, they've poisoned it. It's ruined.
Ruined it. And you're probably not the only one.
Speaking of 3 commercial rotation, at least Buffalo Wild Wings has got that. Like,
do they still have their unlimited wings right now?
I have no idea. No, I don't think so. I think it's over with.
I'm so pissed.
I think that was the summertime.
I can't believe I missed that, dude.
Well, you were doing something. I saw somebody on, it was Instagram, I think, where they literally, from open until close, stayed there and made sure that they ate wings all the time. I think they had like 160.
That's a lot.
That is so much.
Dude, when you got to go poo afterwards,
bro, it was a little girl. Crazy. It was a little girl that did it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's almost impressive.
It was, I'm probably super way over the number, but I feel like it was over 100. And she was literally there from open to close.
There was a bunch of like little reels that would say, oh, let's see if this is really endless. And they just keep bringing them out. And then some people said no after like an hour and a half. They told me to leave or I couldn't get any more or whatever. But most of the time it was like, all right, here, you want another 6? Here you go. Another 6, here you go.
That was what it was with this girl. And dude, she was like peeling herself up off the bench after she got done. But anyway, that was
what we should do for our fantasy football loss, like Tina's worst loser, is we should make them stay in an IHOP for 24 hours. And here's the thing. You can take off an hour for every time you're
for every pancake.
Every pancake. You've seen that one, right?
Yeah, I've seen that.
I think it'd be awesome, but I don't know how many pancakes because their pancakes are legit.
Dude, they're dense, man.
They are, and they're so good. But I'm like, oh man, I don't know. After like 10 of them, I think I'd be like, okay. And you got to just keep eating.
Here's the thing, though. I'm telling you, no, because I am most definitely going to be the one that loses this league. And I'm way too far in.
Kara took an L yesterday, finally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she lost to my brother-in-law, Devin.
Hey, there we go. Way to go, Devin.
She started out hot, but I'm telling you, in fantasy, you just got to sit back. My kids are talking crap. I'm like, just wait, kids.
And not only that, but it's also the dumbest thing in the world. She auto-drafted her entire team.
Well, dude,
the quarterback that got auto-drafted just got benched. We'll talk about that in the next one, actually. But anyway.
That's true. He did.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm going to call that it for part 1.
Yeah. It's a good way to catch up.
All right. All right. Well, stay fresh, you cheese bags out there.
Like fat kids in dodgeball. We're out.
All right.
The JJ and Pug Show theme song is written, composed, and performed by Lane Hartman. Thank you to Highland Communities for the support of our show. You can find the JJ and Pug Show on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and anywhere you listen to your podcast. Just Google us if you're confused. Remember to share the show with your friends and family. Subscribe wherever you listen. Buy a shirt, reach out to us, and place an order. Each shirt is $20, and if we can hand deliver it, we will, but if we have to ship it, it'll be $25. If you're able, feel free to support us by sending a donation to us by going to kfo.com/the JJ and Pug Show. That's ko-fi.com/the JJ and Pug Show. And thanks again to all who listen. We really appreciate your support for our show, and we hope to continue to grow.